Okay, hey, yeah, boom. Are we live? We're live. Good to go, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, Nick, you ready?
I'm good, man.
All right, you're probably talking way too loud.
Am I?
As for humans, don't talk that way.
I'm deaf.
Yeah, I forgot to mention you're a deaf human. This is not
pretty
being
close,
translated.
pretty hard of hearing.
Okay, so yeah, we're here, Hotbox live, boom, Monday night, we're doing it. We got Nick Hart, he's a stand-up comedian, and I was trying to explain to you earlier a little bit. The show is, what are you doing, Mark? Okay, yeah, okay. We're a little bit unprofessional. We don't know what we're doing yet. We're kind of like shooting arrows and painting bullseyes around it as we go along. So hopefully, I wanted you in here because you're like a for sure bullseye, I think. So
I'm a bullseye?
So they're putting the pressure on you right now.
All right.
And yeah, so we're just going to be here. And the nice thing about not really knowing what you're doing is that you can do whatever you want. And it's kind of freeing when you look at that.
That's what it's about.
So Mark, are we all good
Freedom.
to go?
Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Mark Roth is here as always. He's producing the show. He's going to be my little servant boy today. He's going to do what I tell him. If I want to pull up a video, I'm going to say, Mark, do it. And then that's what's going to happen.
Probably not.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. He's not too happy about me bossing him around. Whatever, Mark. You'll do it if I ask nicely, probably. Or I can do it myself. I don't care. Whatever.
I don't think you could do it yourself.
Yeah, I know. That's why I need Mark so bad. So I have to ask him nicely.
And that's tough for you sometimes.
Oh, it is so hard for me. But you're good. You deal with me. You're the best producer I could ever not pay.
Right. Pay in attention, I guess.
We're not paying you either, Nick.
Oh, I'm not?
I don't know. I should have told you that before you came over here. Were you expecting to be paid?
No.
That's good.
That would have been rude. Yeah, we get you here.
You guys got my check, or are you guys doing cash? Or
It's in the mail.
It's in the mail?
We're going to PayPal you in the mail.
Caca.
What have you been up to, Nick?
Not much today. I was driving someone to the airport.
Nick's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. Stand-up comedian.
Yep.
It's just the camera.
It is.
Looking
That's
at?
the camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedian, writer, paranoid
Individual.
individual.
No, Nick is we live here in Madison, and Nick's been doing comedy for as long as I've known him, and I think
9 years.
9 years.
9 years now.
9 years.
I think he's the funniest guy in Madison, and he's not even from here. So where are you from?
South Carolina.
South Carolina, and you
Spartanburg.
Spartanburg. The South is like a different world, man. Do you agree with that?
It's a different world. They it's not as racist as everybody says. I feel it's there's not enough time. I mean, there's too many. The most racist places I've ever lived is Madison, Wisconsin. Like this is. I know it sounds weird for a white guy to say, but I see it.
Well, that's what we thought when we went on a trip down south about a month ago, I'd say, right? And when we were down there, we were blown away by how different it was. Like, there's actually black people down there. Like, we don't even have
there's
black
no
people
black people here.
There's not even a black population. Like, when we were in Atlanta, there's like a black middle class, a
That's
black
Atlanta.
upper class.
Yeah.
We went to Tuskegee. We were the only white people in the city. It
And
was
like-
crazy. Like,
It's the South, boys.
Well,
That's
we never-
what it is down there.
I mean, you hear about it.
And you know what? You know what it's missing up here is black people. Number one. What's funny about that is I had a friend of mine that was a comedian, and he was from Virginia, and we were sitting here one night. We were like, "What do you miss about living in the South?" And we both at the same time went, "Black people." Yeah. Like there's like, but the.
It's like they all stayed. Like they
all stay. They're not coming up here. They're all.
Gonna move across
They're
the
smart.
country.
They're not gonna freaking
Pack
come living up here in sub-zero weather. Like
Right,
they're
have
not
to
doing that
shovel their
shit.
driveway.
That's white
Jeez.
people crap.
Yeah, leave that to us.
But
I love shoveling. Take my
But like,
shovel
I mean, the most racist, I would say Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin are probably some of the most racist places
because
that I've
there's no
seen.
black people. That,
Yeah,
I think that's,
like there's-
it's 'cause
sure.
They're like, who are
what's
these
your
guys?
metric for like racism though? Because like the southern racism is different than the northern racism.
Well, the thing about it is, like down south, I'm maybe racist in general. A real racist doesn't put themselves in a situation where their racism is going to become
Yeah,
evident.
they just
Right.
don't hang
They
around
don't.
black
They
people.
they
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Whereas up here, it's a it's a very subtle.
Right.
You know,
It's hard
you'll
to
just
pick
be
'em out.
sitting there at the bar and someone like turns around and says something. You're like, "Gee, all right, do I look like I think that?
Yeah.
Like
That
this guy
guy.
just thought,
You thought we'd be friends right
yeah.
now.
So
That's the most uncomfortable part about being a carpenter for me. Because I work with a lot of like, you know, blue collar guys who are from a different era than myself, and just some of the things that I think would be funny it's just like, ugh, do I tell them? You know, like, do you? But
what are you gonna say?
You can't.
If they're already old, they're already old. They're
You
like,
gotta just accept it. You know, like what are you gonna try to tell them to change everything about themselves and like tell them what they think is funny isn't funny? Like that's not gonna work. You're gonna be an ass.
Yeah.
That's what an asshole would do. That's what they do up here, though.
I do miss the common courtesy down south, like just the holding the door, saying hello, how you doing, acknowledging each other's existence.
When you go into a gas station, they're like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And they mean it. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like the line that the store makes them say, and they say every time you go into the store, they say it the same way to every single customer.
Yeah.
They look at you and they're like, "Oh, hey."
They acknowledge your
if I can
presence.
help you find something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where here, man, it's just you hold the door for someone up here, and they're looking at you like,
Right.
What do you want? I don't want anything. This has just been instilled in me. Like it's just you hold the door and you hold it for the person who's coming behind you. Like you're not even.
Haven't you ever seen a movie? Like,
Yeah.
This is what we were supposed to do. Is you watch TV.
Just being a decent human being.
Right.
No, man,
Yeah.
you're supporting the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Patriarchy's evil, bro.
Yeah.
You are the patriarchy. How does
patriarch.
that make you feel? You're the patriarchy now. How old are you?
I'm 39.
Yeah, definitely
Dude, you are
patriarchy.
way on
You're the patriarchy for sure.
I'm patriarchy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're full patriarchy.
All right.
I'm half because I'm still like a millennial.
Right.
So like I can be like,
So, like, people believe in you?
I could go like I got long hair. People are like, oh, this.
What
guy's
is that?
on
What does that
side.
have to do with everyone's in the patriarchy?
Sure.
Well, that's a really.
If you want to call it the patriarchy.
That's a hard pill to swallow, and I can't accept that. So I'm just gonna say it's the people who.
Well, what good did the patriarchy ever do besides, build the world?
Yeah, I know. I mean, the roads, the plumbing, electricity,
All the buildings.
computers.
Like, the women built
glasses.
the people.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I'm
Well,
not-
that's a good point because that's the trade-off. It's like, all right, everything you see that's made, man made that, and every human being you saw that made that, women made that.
Yeah.
But and then I'll add another thing to that. Everything that every man made was for women.
Yeah, it was more.
The only reason we did any of this, the
Yeah.
only reason we built a road and a house, if it was up to me,
Was women.
like I'd be out in the
Oh, yeah.
woods strangling deer to death, like nuts, like I wouldn't build
Dropping
a house.
elbows on Bambi.
There
Yeah.
would be no roads. Where
Right.
I
No,
live.
yeah, that'd be like, there's a path.
Yeah,
There's
like,
a path, man. I
That's
can't.
where I go pick my berries. I go there every day. It's like a natural path. That's all. We
And I'm
got.
saying I'm not mechanically inclined at all. I'm not like techno. Like I don't know how you guys even. If you sat there and put all this in a box and were like, all right, go start your own podcast with all this stuff, I'd be like, oh man.
You'd still find a way to fuck it up.
Yeah, like I'd call you. Like I'd be
Yeah.
like, Mark, I got a thing.
That's why you don't sell people that kind of stuff.
I gotta do. Like yeah, like
You become customer service for stupid people. Not to say that you're dumb.
I'm socially bright.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
I'm fucking mechanically and technologically. I'm fucking.
Well, that's not how we
absolute
did it.
doofus.
I think we would have fucked it up too.
Oh,
if
yeah.
we got a box with a lot of stuff, but we just like pieced it together one
Yeah.
piece at a time, and like you just like look for the next thing, and then as long as you don't like worry too far out in the future, like just the next step,
Yeah.
and then you'll get there eventually.
Like, we bought a computer, and then we bought a microphone, and then we bought 2 microphones, and then we bought 2 cameras.
just because
and
we
then-
tried to do it with what we had, and we're like,
Oh,
you
we
know what
need
we
more
need?
than this.
Oh, this, and then you
Yeah.
get that, and you're like, oh well, this is what we thought we needed, but really
Yeah.
we need this.
Yeah.
And it's like shooting arrows and painting bullseyes afterwards. That's
Yeah.
like my whole thing. You take credit for 50 points.
Right.
50 points. Paint it around it. Paint it around it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh man, I got an itch on my leg.
What else?
Skeeters. Oh, skeeters are way worse up north too than down south. At least the week we were there, I didn't get bit by a single bug, and it was like nice weather in the middle of the summer. We come back up to Wisconsin, I had 20
Yeah,
bug bites
mosquitoes
in a
up
minute.
here. Bullshit.
Yeah.
The ocean's pretty cool. We don't have the ocean up here.
Yeah. The ocean freaked me out.
Fuck the ocean, dude.
Yeah, you don't like the
Freaked me
ocean?
out.
I grew
Dude.
no way. I'm a mountain lake kid.
You know, I've never.
I ain't messing with the ocean.
I had never swam in the ocean before, and I was super freaked out about it.
He's on the beach. He's
Yeah, I
just
was
laying on
like,
the beach,
I
like
don't know
reading a
about
book.
that. But like, when I got out there though, I realized that I'm like a good swimmer. Like I took swimming lessons.
Yeah,
and
no, I
like,
was.
Oh,
we
this
were.
isn't that bad.
We
Like,
swam competitively, and we went to the ocean as kids to visit. We had grandparents that lived in Charleston, but
there's just all this shit. down there.
there was I don't know, some guy we knew or someone who knew my dad. And he flew the planes with the banners up and down Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
And he goes, if you went up in that plane, he goes, you never go back in that water again. He's like, you just see these
the
like
sharks?
9-foot, 10-foot sharks swimming in like 5 feet of water. You just see their shadows. He's like, they're swimming in between families, like people, and it's murky water, so you can't see it. He goes, I was like, yeah, I ain't going in that.
But hey,
And it's salty, it's hot, it's sandy, it sucks.
But you know what that means?
Give me a lake. I'll take a lake. Except these dirty ass lakes here in Madison.
Yeah. E. coli.
Disgusting.
Just going for a swim. All the beaches where we have beaches where I'm from, here in Wisconsin. It's just like a puddle full of goose shit.
Right.
With a dock.
Are you from Wisconsin?
Yeah, I'm
Are you?
from Janesville. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Beautiful Janesville.
Janesville reminds me of the west side of Spartanburg.
Yeah.
Like Janesville looks like it. Just looks like it.
So
It's just
abandoned downtown and
abandoned downtown. Just the WalMarts and the all the fast food, the food deserts.
It blows.
You know what I
me
mean? Like
away. It's like, oh yeah, we get all these new restaurants. New restaurants open every week in Janesville, but it's like Five Guys, Potbelly
Yeah, it's
sandwiches,
just food
Arby's,
deserts, man.
Del Taco. It's just every food chain you can think of, we're getting, and everybody's like, oh yeah, that's why I want to go to Fun
Hey
Rock.
man, I
I'm
won't
a
lie.
Fun Rock
If
with
they
the-
get a Zaxby's up here, I'll conform in a heartbeat. Like I
What's
love Zaxby's. It's
I've
the
never
best
even heard
chicken place ever. It's down south. I'm waiting for them to like blows Chick-fil-A out of the water. Like
Chick-fil-A's
forget
pretty good.
Chick-fil-A's good. Chick-fil-A Bojangles. If they got Bojangles up here, that's up there with Zaxby's. It's just good chicken. It's just good food. It's good, disgusting, unhealthy food. But
Bojangles is like, that's a good example of Madison racism, because you couldn't really say that around here without someone calling you racist.
Right, no, if you call
It's like
it
one of those
Jesus
words
Christ.
that's
call
like
chicken restaurant
Bojangles, they'd be like,
Bojangles.
"Look, that's racist that you would say that." That's the type of
That
place
that
this
is
It wouldn't
that
have.
is
Yeah.
Madison.
I think that's why they got. Yeah, no. It would never fly, because they worry about like words are violence. Like words.
Now they are
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
words. We're everything, but everything's just words.
Yeah.
So how is everything violent? Like we're not.
Everything's
There's no
violent,
violence. Like it's like everything is just words.
It's okay.
The most offensive language has all been passed into law. Like that's the most offensive language you could ever.
Well, how so?
Just laws.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just laws.
Because
They're just
that's
words
what
that
it
a bunch
does.
of old guys were like,
Right.
and this now means something.
Yeah.
And you had no that's why I said there's no adults on the planet. It's
Yeah,
just
man.
older
That's
kids.
how I feel.
I
when-
feel
It's just
Me
older
too,
kids.
man.
It's the older kids
It's
that
'cause
were
we
here
got-
before you.
It's like because we all watch TV. I think it's like we just watch the same stuff we always watched, and we never really progress
Right.
because it's just this constant and never goes away.
There's the only reason there's an illusion that there are adults is because there are children.
Right, because
Sure.
That's it.
because children are small.
Yeah,
Like
because
if
they're
children
small.
came out full blown adults, no one would
Yeah,
have
we would never have
idea
anybody
how-
like.
So
We'd be killing them. We'd be killing them even more. it'd be aborting them left and right.
Just
how long?
cattle gun.
Here's little Jerry. Cut his throat. We gotta abort him.
How
I
long
think
do you
that-
guys think that like all adults have been children, or most adults have been children? Is that like within the last 20 years? 10
You know what it is? I think it's they elongated childhood with college.
Yeah.
Because you think like my parents. So my dad was in the Navy, so he was traveling, whatever. He's traveling around the world. But I know people like friends whose parents were like by 18, they were packing up the car and getting married and moving across the country. And like I couldn't imagine doing that at 18.
No
I couldn't
way.
imagine like getting like my girlfriend and be like, "We're driving. I got a job. I'm going out there to get like." They've extended childhood with college.
I agree.
And I think now you're that's why they keep saying 30's the new 40, 40's the
Like,
new
that's just
30
to
or
keep
whatever,
you,
yeah,
like,
it's
tiny.
just to
That's
keep you,
a
it's,
child.
Helicopter
Listens to
parenting,
their
too.
boss. Listens
Like-
to the teacher.
Overprotective
Raise your hand
parents,
before you speak.
where it's like acceptable to overly protect your parents. or
Your
overly
kids?
protect your kids.
Yeah, no,
Inject them with hormones.
I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 90s. I was an 80s kid.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I just learned something. This is crazy. So, how old are you?
33.
33, so you're a little bit behind me.
I'm
So,
28.
all right, let me ask you this, and let me ask you guys this. So, there was a surplus in the world economy in the 90s,
Yeah.
right? Why is that?
Tell me
Why do you
I have
know?
no
Like,
idea.
what would the first thing that comes to your mind? What would you say? What's the first name that comes to your mind when they say, "Oh, there was the 90s were operating at the surplus instead of a deficit"?
Bill Clinton.
It's all Bill Clinton.
Bill
Right,
Clinton
right,
did
right.
that.
Bill Clinton. But again, like, so there was something I heard. I don't know if I read it or saw it on somewhere, but it was like how in 1990 or 91, whenever Iraq invaded Kuwait, the Kuwaiti currency was 2-to-1 to the U.S. dollar. When Iraq invaded Kuwait, it dropped to like 22 cents to the U.S. dollar, and the Federal Reserve or whoever bought up all the bonds on that, or however that works. They bought up stock, I guess, in that currency, and then went to war, kicked Iraq out. They revalued the currency, and it came back up to 2-to-1, and that was the reason for the surplus in the 90s. It had nothing to do with Clinton. They just said it was Clinton because there you go, here's a cult of personality. There you go, Clinton did this. And then they did it to Iraq, and that was the whole reason of getting into Iraq, and they have yet to revalue that currency.
Do you want to know something so funny?
Yeah.
My grandma and grandpa have bought like a shitload of Iraqi dinar. And I'm investing in Iraqi dinar.
I'm telling you, man, that's the piggy bank that they're waiting to break open, I think.
Oh, no, 100%.
You should either be demanding Trump revalue it or daring Trump to revalue it.
I don't know. Yeah, do you ask him for it?
Yeah,
Like,
I think you dare him. I think you dare him. Like, I dare you to revalue this.
Well, I would become a millionaire probably because of just the few. Like, I'm not gonna get into how much I have invested or how much they have invested, but it's like a life-changing amount of money for my grandparents.
Dude, they would make what happened in the 90s look like.
And it's like one of those things you're
Coin
like,
toss.
oh my god, did grandma get scammed by a Nigerian prince? And
No,
like,
I don't know. I don't think so.
but like at the end of the day, it's like something for her to bank on and like wait for and like all I just
Pass
have
down.
Yeah, right.
You imagine she passes all that down.
I
Like,
have a whole book full of money that's got Saddam Hussein's face on it. That's good, like
I don't think it'll be Saddam's face, but whatever the currency will be,
No,
that
that's
they end up revaluing.
You bought the old bills. We have all this old currency that's been devalued. So when they revalue it, if you get like, you can't just like, there's going to be a small window where you have to like take your money to a broker to go exchange the old money for the new money at the new rate, like to get the full rate. And after that, then it's just worthless paper. But there's a window where everybody can take their old money that they were holding on to and transfer over to the new thing and exchange it for the new value and basically make bank. And I don't know if that's how they like kickstart it and juice it up to have like value in the system from the jump with all these people who came over and then now they're boosted. I don't know how it really works. But like, I'm just telling my grandpa, like, whatever you do, you're not taking a plane to Iraq to go to a money broker.
No,
not
doing that.
to like get $1 million. Okay, I'm not letting you do that, Gramps. Sorry. Like, you're even my step grandpa, and I'm not letting you do that. You know?
Yeah. That's wild, man. But I mean, like, that was just interesting. It was like how they. Number one, it shows how the presidents are working with each other and doing things in step for each other. It's like, all right, I did this thing because you're going to take the credit for it. You know, I mean, same thing with the Fast and the Furious, the guns that they were running.
Car movie.
No, the gun sting that they were going to do with the cartels. And I remember reading the article when that happened, and they were just like, oh, they did a sting, and they gave all these weapons to the cartels. And there's like, all right, how are you tracking them? And they're like, oh, and now they're sitting there, violence has erupted down there, and they're sending waves of people this way. And you're like, the president, like Obama literally did that. Like, he okayed that, like, and that's the reason the immigrants are coming over here.
Smile on his face, you know?
It's just interesting how they keep in step with for the next president.
Well,
all right,
he's the scandal-free president.
Who?
Obama. Right?
No, he had
He's the only scandal-free president we've ever
Fast
had.
and the Furious.
No, he
Seems
got
like
the
a pretty
only
big
pure
scandal.
human being we've ever had.
He got in
the
trouble
office of the
for-
presidency.
He was a great president.
No, he got in trouble at the end of his presidency for the borders. for the buildings at the border, or the detention
the-
centers. He got in trouble for that, but like right at the end of his presidency.
Probably just that's like their preemptive.
He was like, no, wait till that's
They're
still
foreshadowing
that's
for
the-
Trump.
Right.
you guys don't talk about that till Trump's in office.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
And then it's just like a little subtle foreshadowing. Be like, well, we can't just bring it up when Trump's there, so we'll say it to you in your last month when you're, your lame duck. We'll just bring it up then and low key, and then we can have the, we'll save face and have plausible deniability that we had never accused Obama of
Right.
actually instilling the laws. Because that's when we were down in Houston. We went to a detainment center in Houston.
yeah.
And,
Was it nice?
No.
not at all.
No.
Nope.
I mean, we didn't go inside. We did not go inside.
Would they let you inside?
No, there was barbed wire fence around the perimeter.
Yeah.
But
It was like a prison.
we waited outside. It looked like kind of like just an office park because it's like a private institute that is doing it. It's not like the government that's doing it. It's some
Sure, then there's
Yeah.
no.
it's like a private contractor.
Yeah.
It's like a prison contractor.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Geo Group.
And we were like, we're gonna go down to the border and just find out because we didn't want to like CNN. Like we're not believing that. Like,
So then we're in Juarez. And
Right.
so anyway, we're in Juarez.
We
No, it was a crazy story.
Mark had
But
already
yeah.
lost a kidney.
Yeah.
we were sitting outside and we're like kind of nervous and we see a few people walking up and like I was like I don't know if I want to go talk to one of these people just because you're like there and you're like why are we there, what are we doing here is kind of how we felt. But then like I saw a guy with like long hair and he's lighting up a cigarette, so I'm like okay, we can go talk to this guy. And we went up and started a conversation with him. And
He was a guard, or he was
No,
he was a detainee,
No.
or whatever. What are they being called?
his
I don't
daughter-
know.
his daughter-in-law was being detained.
Okay.
And tell the story.
Family
You remember
member.
Well,
the story?
he was a Native American.
Yeah, and his son married a woman who came over here when she was 3 months old,
Right.
and they got married.
He married a
But-
3-month-old.
Well, no, she just never got in
I don't
trouble.
know, I'm
Really.
not
Right, so
putting
got
it on
over here.
question.
Right. So yeah, they get over here. His son has 3 kids with this woman, and then she gets in a dispute with her
But so they
neighbor.
get married, but they never get the green card and
Right,
the
yeah,
citizenship
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. It's not like the Russian bride kind of thing that people think, where you get married and you're an automatic citizen. Like it's
Right.
harder than that. It's maybe even especially for people on the reservation. Maybe they just don't even deal with it. When they get married. I don't know. But for some reason, she wasn't a citizen, even though she was married to this guy who was. So her kids were citizens because they were born here.
Right.
So, so she got detained, and the whole rest of the family's out, and Grandpa's got to take care of the kids. And the 2 kids were in the car while we're talking to
Yeah,
Frank, was his name,
it was his name.
and he needs our help.
He's Frank.
needs our help.
He did need our help.
And but you talk to the guy, and you're like, "Do you blame Donald Trump for this?" And he's like, not
Nah.
really. Like, we knew this
It's
was
the
gonna
system's
happen.
bigger than
Right.
Donald Trump.
Right,
Like you
yeah.
can't blame the
Right, so
figurehead.
everybody wants to blame him, and basically it's like he's like, we all knew this was going to happen someday because it's the law, and like it's just a matter of time. And
Right.
it's like, so if you want to change it, you don't like Donald Trump, kids in cages, da da da. It's like, no, talk to the congressman who's like trying to like write the laws and keep those places legal. If you think those places shouldn't be around, make it so the law's not on the books. Because like you were saying, if words are violence, then take the words away.
Yeah.
Take the written words away. Strip it all away. Don't add more violence to stop violence. That's the opposite of what you should do. You should strip it all away. And you can. This works for how I look at it, and for how someone who looks at words as violence. Like you can look at words as violence, and then it's like, okay, then stop ruling your life by the rule book that's made out of words that aren't for this time. Because when you write it down, it's automatically outdated because it's for a different time.
Sure.
So if you're not going to have reverence for it, like you can have reverence for it and honor it and like respect the past, and like I think that's valuable. But if you don't create more history. Do you understand what I mean? Like, but because by writing everything down and etching it all in stone and having these rules, you're like creating a new tyrannical.
It's the
force.
cult. You're creating the cult of
Yeah.
whatever is surrounding it.
Yeah. People don't even see that. I think a lot of cult members just don't know they're a member of a cult. You
Sure,
know?
we don't. We're citizens. Like
No one
What
sits
cult-
around.
we're
How
like,
many cults do you think you're in? Like, are you I'm probably in 4. I bet.
I'm in. Well, I was in Catholicism for most of my life. That's
Yep.
probably one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy is a cult.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Me too.
Madison drinking nightlife is a cult.
You're right.
Like
yeah,
that's a
it's
guy.
not
Like
just,
it's
it doesn't have to be like a defined body.
no. There are
30
groups of people with certain norms and rules that are not. They're unspoken or they're. You don't take someone's seat if there's a beer sitting there or a drink sitting there. Like that's culture. That's part of the cult that you're in.
We're just so like blinded by the repetition of it, Like it happens over and over again that you don't really notice it anymore. It's like
it's the paradox. It's the thing you don't think about before you do it.
It's like when you work on the farm, you don't smell the cow shit, or like when you live in the paper mill town, you don't smell that horrendous smell. You ever drive through a town with a paper mill? It's the worst. It smells like a foot.
Oh no, I'm from textile country, dude. I know all about that
all
shit.
about just wet stuff. Oh, we got. Oh, geez, is that a
Probably
flash?
another flash
warning?
flooding warning.
Oh no, hey guys, look, flash,
Tornado.
flash flood.
We're in the storm.
How do you?
They don't have tornadoes on the isthmus.
What do
It's
you
impossible.
What do you think about these emergency alerts and the emergency alert system where they can like hijack any phone company and anybody and just send you a message?
I think it's fucking awesome.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they could use it for something bad? What if Donald
Absolutely
Trump
they could use it
started
for something
using
bad.
it? What if Donald Trump, what if Twitter banned Donald Trump? He's like, fine, I'm going to use the emergency alert system.
That's an interesting question. Why isn't Trump banned from Twitter?
I don't
From this
know.
crazy ass shit that he said. I don't follow him on Twitter because it's ridiculous. I don't have to because
sent me
there's
emails,
56 million people who follow. Like I'm almost certain if
Who are way more invested in
there's
it than
no
you.
way 56 million people who follow Trump like Trump.
That's crazy, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no one like, you know what I mean?
They're
Like there's
hate
that
followers.
is
There's so many
yeah. It's
hate
people who
followers.
are following him hate so they can bitch about it and maybe get a tweet to go fucking.
So they want him to
Viral or
retweet it.
something.
They want him to talk shit about him.
And it's like if you just quit following him on Twitter, he'd probably impeach himself. Like if it dropped below like 10 million followers, he'd be like, I ain't doing this shit anymore. Guess what? I did collude with the Russians.
And then they're
Impeach
like,
me.
we
I don't wanna do this
care.
as
He's
bullshit
like,
anymore.
I got a blowjob in the Oval Office. Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
he was like,
he'd be this desperate for attention. That is one way they could like make him powerless. I don't think they could do it though. I don't.
they
think-
won't do it because
No,
it's
there's no way.
you love what you hate and you hate what you love and you are what you hate and
No, sometimes I catch myself like watching something just to hate it, and it feels gross when you catch yourself. You're like, God, why do I even let myself get all worked up over this stupid show that I check out just literally to hate watch it? Like I do it sometimes. I'll do
Sure.
it with Bill Maher. I'll watch Bill Maher, and cause he has enough stuff that I actually agree with, and I used to think he was funny.
okay.
Yeah, and now that I think after the election he just went him and everybody else just went balls to the wall. They're like, oh, I know who signs my paycheck, and then this unspoken thing went out where they all just kind of towed the line and went overboard, and he's the worst at it. He has an hour with no commercials that he just basically stacks the deck to make his point, and
I don't watch a show.
it's real time. It's
I've seen it, but I don't watch it.
So I'll catch myself because it's funny enough where I can justify watching it, and sometimes they'll have a guest on there that I'm into, who's an antagonist who's outnumbered 4-1 or whatever. But I'll watch it just because I'll see how this guy does talking with all these retarded people.
Sure.
And I feel gross if I if I were to watch Real Time with Bill Maher every week because I hated it, I would feel gross.
Sure.
It's why would you do that? It's not even if you watch a horror movie to feel gross, that's different because you're intentionally triggering yourself to do that. But Bill Maher is worse than any horror movie because I actually get angry about it. I get angry about something that this guy.
I don't even bother with that shit.
I don't.
It's just I'm not just.
I try not to.
I
try to.
But that might be privilege. That might be privilege that I don't have to deal with things like that, where I can just ignore those things.
You're not acknowledging my experience.
I don't.
Mark's known for not acknowledging
I'm a
his
dick.
experience. So what are you going to talk about since you're going to change the subject? Make it about yourself, probably.
Well,
Just acknowledge my experience.
Well, I don't
Has the
think
show
you-
started? Is this it? Are
Oh
we
yeah,
doing
man.
it?
This is just us talking shit.
Okay.
Yeah, we just hang out and stumble over each other's words.
You try not to.
Yeah, you try not to, but I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, so 5, 4, 3, 2. We're on.
We're on.
We're
We
on.
started.
All
Yeah,
right.
we weren't. That was.
Nick
There we
Hart,
go.
you're here.
Good
Tell
there.
us. So you were on Conan O'Brien's show lately.
I was. It's crazy.
Yeah, what was it like meeting Conan?
I didn't really meet him. Fucking. He shook my hand, and that was when I met him. I was like, oh, okay. Green Onions and Skynes are the same thing. Okay.
Do you have a nice green room?
Mine was nice.
Nice.
Was it nicer than our green room?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the green room?
This is the
Yeah, it
it's
was
actually
nicer
the
than
hallway.
this.
The hallway
It was
is
much
the green
nicer
room.
than
There's
this.
a shitter back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. It was fun.
No,
Cool.
I don't give a shit
I was
about it.
just being a dork.
Yeah.
But back to what Mark was saying.
I don't even remember what it was.
What,
I don't remember what it was. You
I
can't
don't
do
know.
that.
Probably, I don't know, did you get diddled as a kid or something?
Oh God. I don't want to talk
Who
about
didn't?
that really.
Oh, you
Right?
don't?
True. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know,
Yeah.
you told me about it.
No, I
Today,
did.
I thought
I
I'd bring it up
nonchalantly
live on
talked
YouTube.
about it. Right. No, I just found out yesterday that I was molested by a priest when I was 3 years old. Like, because I always had these.
Are you
like,
for real?
Yeah, I'm totally serious. I always had these like weird thoughts or like not
Memories?
thoughts, memories about it, and I like brought it up on Facebook yesterday. And
Tell
then
him why. Tell him why.
I don't want to go into that right now.
come on,
I'm not going to go into that,
All right.
but I'll go into this.
Okay.
So my mom texted me and she was like, like who touched you? And I was like, I don't really remember. Maybe, I could be misremembering it or something, or, it's my mom. Like, I don't want her to think that this actually happened to me, because then she's got to, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, she has to go through all the thoughts of like,
What did she
what
do?
did I do? And like, yeah, I didn't want to put my mother through that, and I didn't even think about it when I was fucking talking online. And she told me that when I was like 3 or 4 years old, I went with a weekend with a priest, and he was caught later molesting children. So it's like, just kind of put it together, and it makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
It's like a weird memory. I felt like I was really young. I'm kind of freaked
What
out.
year was it?
It was probably like 88, 80.
Dude, 85 to 93, like that is peak, like the
Child molesting time?
peak child molesting in the church, because that's when all that stuff was just
Or
starting to
88.
break.
It was 88. So.
Like the mid 80s is when
Yeah.
all that stuff started to break.
Yeah.
With all the accusations and stuff, and they did a pretty good job quieting it down for a little
Dude,
while.
I was in Catholic school up until 5th grade, like Catholic, like convent,
Yeah.
across the street Catholic school. And I remember I was an altar boy, and we had, I don't want to say his name, but he was mean, man. He was like a mean dude. Like and I'm sure it's like, I couldn't see the altar, so you're putting things up there. And I'm sure I put like, the cross was supposed to be facing a certain way, and it was upside down when he comes up to the altar. He's
You're
like,
blaspheming
he's just like, look. But he ended up getting caught banging the kindergarten teacher.
Jeez.
And our parents were like, all right, yeah, this place is too expensive anyway. They're like, we're taking you out of this.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
when
at least it was the teacher, not the kindergartners.
Right.
sure, yeah, no, it was.
You know, did you hear what happened in Pennsylvania this month? 2 weeks ago?
No.
They busted a network in the Catholic Church of 300 priests.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Over
did hear about
1,000
that.
victims.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they did that in Pennsylvania, it was going on everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
going on everywhere.
Dude,
But
it's-
300. How many cities are in Pennsylvania? How many
Yeah.
cities?
It's a,
That's crazy, man.
the world's ran by pedophiles, right?
Have you watched The Keepers? The Keepers,
I
yeah.
know about the Keepers. Yeah,
It's
No, I
crazy.
haven't
Have
watched
you
it.
even seen that?
What is
It's on Netflix. It's about
oh, it's right up your alley, dude.
yeah, man.
Oh, is it?
It's about a Catholic girls' Catholic school, and the guy in charge, what's the Catholic person in charge at a school? I don't know.
Principal?
Principal?
Chaplain.
Chaplain? Is the chaplain? He was.
No, that would be.
Well, we had a principal,
it's not a
sister,
chaplain.
sister,
Whatever.
somebody.
I don't know. It was a dude in charge was just fucking the shit out of all the girls, like, and all the sexually abused girls too. So like all
Of
these.
course, they have.
Yeah, all the girls that would come to the
They're
priests
able to
and tell
manipulate.
them, hey, somebody, I was touched by somebody, but I've never told anybody, and then they'd be like, oh, perfect, she ain't gonna talk, get her in, like,
Sure.
and then they're talking about how they were his brother was the chief of police, so they were selling girls to the cops. It's all on Netflix. It's crazy.
Rings, bro.
And
Dude.
Thomas Jefferson banged kids.
Well, his slaves, definitely.
Yeah.
How old was, what's her name?
I don't know, but you don't think he was... You own people. You own people, and you're the president of a new country. You can do whatever you want.
Literally whatever.
That's free. He's going out. There was no law there. There wasn't a thing. It was just like, hey, man, was she 12, 13? She's old enough to have kids.
Yeah.
Start doing like, get out of here, man. Like,
it was a totally different world back then, man.
it's the same world. We just don't live in that world. The people who live in that world are still running things.
That's a great point. And like
Eve bit the apple. That put us into sin. We have lived in Lucifer's realm the whole time.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the physical realm is like a prison of like sin and like impulse and like carnal desire, and I don't know, it's kind of shitty. Do you think there's like a way to transform and like re-become your like spiritual being that's been imprisoned? Like if you would look at it like you're in exile right now. Like if you are in a prison right now, that means they took something else and put it in prison. So like that thing that is in prison, do you think there's a way to ever free yourself? Or
death.
Right.
Death is
that or could you like
absence
do like
of the body is in the presence of God?
Or could you do like Charlie Manson where he's like, I ain't in a prison, man. You know, like you could just convince yourself you're not in a prison. Like, do you think there's a way to like that's Jesus Christ, my friend. Have you heard the word?
Yeah, no, but Jesus, like,
just kidding. But no, like, I think that's kind of what that idea is talking about, is that we're all imprisoned in this place, but there's a way to take the imprisoned being and escape the prison. Do you think so?
Yeah, with $1 billion.
With you think it's money?
That's the tool in order for the thing, but like the.
You kind of have to use a little bit of the black magic to, like...
It's all black magic, man. That's what's running the realm.
But, so there you go. I think, I agree with that 100%. Like, you can't fight...
Jesus ain't running shit here. This is Lucifer's domain.
Yeah.
That's Earth, whatever you want to call it.
Well, he was fight back with the idea of something that isn't here, but, like, what is here, man, that runs deep through each and every one of us is, like, Luciferian like stuff, like impulses, like just desires and like greed and
that mindset,
like that's all buried deep within us. And like the opposite of that, like the lighter side comes later. Like it's not born within you. You have to be taught that, and it's like knowledge that's spread, and it's like it's not spread by just talking. It's like an actual connection. Like it's like a feeling kind of thing. Like you got to look in someone's eyes and feel it, or like actually resonate with what's true or whatever. True is like capital T, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. It gets real deep and weird and like trippy if like, cause like, I don't know. I've done too many acid trips to read the Bible and be like, oh, this is just a regular book with a bunch of stories about a goat and a man. It's like, no, this is a way trippier book than like what I was thinking it was when I was 13 when I said it was stupid.
It's a chain letter.
That's a good way to put it.
It's a chain letter. Someone look like the first two. I think the first two. You need to know about the Bible was the first two chapters. Genesis, where God said, "Let us make man in our image," which means we were present with God at the beginning. And then the second verse, Lord God shows up as in your majesty, my Lord.
We talked about this 2 days ago.
Did you?
Yeah, the difference between God and the Lord.
Lord God is like shows up. We already took care of everything, but then he gave man a name.
This is Anunnaki territory.
And then he gave man a name and then put him in a garden to till and work. Yep. When you're born, you're given a name and you're given a social security number. Well, who else is given numbers upon arrival? Prisoners and slaves. That's so right. That's all your social security number. I'm not going to get into that. But
I mean, you can.
No, I'm running for mayor. I can't get into that crazy.
Oh, that's right. You're going to run for mayor again?
We ran into Paul Soglin at the grocery store the other day.
Did you?
Like, this guy's a fucking punk.
Paul Soglin is?
Yeah. He's short.
I was like, Nick.
He's only been mayor like 7 times. brand this town.
Chance, yeah. He also has ties to domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
So whatever. I don't
even know what that's about. What is that
The
about?
underground weatherman.
Oh, okay, yeah. From your, I thought it was like recent. It's like, what's he doing now?
No, back in the '60s, or was it like '71?
Whenever they set the bomb off over here.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Blew that building up.
And
killed that janitor.
Hey man, that's just the way that was back then. It was a different time.
That
it
guy
was a
stole
different
an airplane.
time, dude.
You know what the guy who did that did before? What was the name of the building?
I don't remember. Turner Hall.
No, oh my God, I can't think of the name of the building. But if you look up online, the UW-Madison bombing, they bombed a Army research facility. The Army was paying the university
to do a bunch of stuff.
Money to, and they
mathematics department.
They had to spend a quarter of their time working on mathematics as far as developing weapons for the Vietnam War was. And these people decided that they were going to bomb the university in the middle of the night.
One person died, right?
Yeah, they killed.
But they weren't supposed to be there or something.
It was like a janitor or something. They just didn't know that there'd be a guy there overnight, like an overnight maintenance guy. And
why bomb it though? Just set it on fire.
This guy who did it, I don't know all the details of the name because I'm haven't gone too super deep into it, but I looked into it, got the overview, and he had a history of making bombs. He was kind of like an arson freak kind of guy. He had stolen a plane before. He went on to a airfield, stole a plane, and dropped a bunch of bombs that he had made in little baskets, and he tried to go over a weapons facility in the middle of nowhere, and he just tried to drop these bombs, and none of them went off, and they found him later. But I don't think he got caught for it, but he admitted to it later. But so this guy had done that. So when the people needed to do their activism, they're like, who do we go to? How about that fucking retard who does the bombs? We'll have him do it. And him and his brother, and there's 4 guys colluded, and 2 of them got away. One of them's up in Canada. One of them got busted, and two of them got busted and went away and came out. And I think one of them's dead. And then 2 of them got away to Canada. And one of them actually came back to Madison and owned the smoothie stand down on State Street. He owned a smoothie store.
Good for him.
Yeah, he bombed a building 6 blocks away, and then went to prison, got out, and then goes to the city, and he's like, hey, can I get a permit on the busiest street in town? I know I kind of destroyed part of the other part of town.
Didn't he come back and say he wish he would have done more? Or
he didn't say he regretted it.
Yeah, he didn't say he regretted it, but
he regrets that someone died.
Right.
But he says basically he said it kind of all went out in the wash after he got old and some of his other friends just died of natural causes. He's like, everybody dies. That guy. It was fine. That's basically what he said, man.
Right.
It was crazy, and that's. I think this is allegedly. These aren't my theories here, but Paul Soglin was he was really coming up in the ranks back in he was the socialist activist, the official wing of it, the political wing of the social activism. And I think he's friends with these guys. He was interviewed in this documentary about it because he knew these guys and went to school with them, and he never got blamed for it. But I guess they don't care here.
That's because he had nothing to do with it.
Well, I don't know. There's ties. There's definitely ties.
I've never heard that. That's interesting.
No, there's a whole documentary on YouTube about it. I forget what the name of the video is.
I'll have to check it out.
Here, tell them about something, and I'm gonna look up.
Madison Bomb.
How about give me another beer?
There's none left.
There's none
Oh,
left.
Jesus.
That's the last beer.
Yeah, you are going to have to pay me now.
Yeah.
How much?
How much money you want?
$10.
I can't do that.
$20.
You want to start smoking? I'll give you a cigarette.
I just checked the live chat, and
I've seen some things they've set up here. It's all been fairly racist.
Someone said black homos are called Bojangles.
Yeah, that's all that.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I've never heard that. I'm from the South, and it's always been a chicken place.
You've never heard of the Paul Soglin being a bombing guy either.
No,
what do you
well,
know?
You're right. Why am I here?
I have no idea. You're here as just to fill some time. You gotta have something to do.
Liaison to killing time.
You're a spirit guide.
Yeah.
Do you believe in spirit animals?
No.
No.
But I got a friend that's evidently pretty good at calling it out
So
to people.
what if I just propose to you that it's just like a visual representation of characteristics of your personality to yourself?
Sure.
Like that's all it is, and it's
Right.
just like acknowledging those.
What is your spirit animal?
I have no idea. Isn't that crazy that I can have that understanding of it, but I have no idea. Maybe
Dude,
No one's
turtle.
ever told you?
I did a
No, you gotta
shamanic
find it
journey.
yourself.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a. What's yours?
I did a shamanic journey,
Oh yeah.
and I was in a sensory deprivation tank, and I had been practicing like transcendental meditation to like a drum beat, and then if you do that a few times and like know what you're looking for, you can tune it to your heartbeat if you're in complete silence. So you like get your heartbeat and you and then you can put yourself in a trance and have like visions in your mind, and it's kind of like being in a dream. And like if you're in a float tank for like an hour, you have, it's completely silent, completely dark, and you're in salt water that's the same temperature as your skin, and you're floating, and you can't hear or feel
sense
or
of
see
self.
anything. So like you get lost in this little trance state, and you kind of have a dream where like time doesn't exist for your journey.
Yeah, meditation. I've done that.
And what Mark was saying about how it's like a visual representation, like when you hear about the shamanic people, like the shamans, I guess you would say, when you hear the shamans tell the stories, it's all about like jaguars and like animals and like the jungle and all this stuff. And when I did it, it wasn't those things. It was like cartoons and video games that I played when I was a kid, and like stories.
So Super Mario is your spirit animal?
Mario was definitely in there.
Zelda?
But it was what it was, and like it makes sense to me because like that's when your
Koopa.
mind is forming this like schema for interpreting the world.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you go out and explore when and like so a shamanic jungle person, they're out like looking at bugs and snakes and birds out in the woods when they're kids, and like learning and telling stories and fables and all. Like the archetypes come from animals and nature, but we're in a different time, so our archetypes come from stories and constructed narratives. So when I had like this mix of Super Mario and The Little Mermaid and The Beauty and the Beast, and like I went down underwater, and it's like this whole thing that's like this stupid, it's like hearing someone tell about a dream. But anyways, I end up going underwater, coming back up. I'm on the beach in Normandy, and there's dead bodies everywhere, and I just go through all the dead bodies, and I look up and I see Hitler, and I'm like, what the hell, Hitler's my spirit animal? No way. and then he shoots himself in the head. He shoots himself in the head, and I look over, and then there's Hitler's dog wagging his tail, just all sad. And Hitler's dog was my spirit animal. And I was like, oh my God.
What's Hitler's dog's name?
I don't know. But, so I'm thinking like, man, I was trying to interpret, like, what does that mean if Hitler's dog, it's like, but, Hitler's dog.
Means you're an anti-Semite.
He's clamped down on a Jew's ankle hard, and you snap all the tendons of that Jew's ankle. No. What it means, Nick, what it means is that I would like love anything as long as it like
Loved you back?
Yeah. Like it doesn't matter how evil or how
You're loyal.
bad it is. Like yeah.
You're a loyal mutt.
Yeah. And
Yeah, you look like a mutt. You look like a loyal mutt.
So then I go to Google and I type in Hitler's dog to find out what his name was, and
Trevor.
He can jump.
Tyler.
Yeah. You can jump 6 feet high. Okay, so that's one.
Yeah.
Thing. But and then what came up before pictures of Hitler's dog was Norm Macdonald named his stand-up special Hitler's Dog. And,
So Norm Macdonald's your spirit animal.
his whole closing bit was about how Hitler's dog would love it. Like his whole closing 8-minute bit was like what I heard and I thought I came up with it, and then I looked at it and it was like, oh, I saw this 4 years ago, and it was like I think it was just buried in there.
Yeah.
And that was like the 8-minute story that was gonna kind of like unlock my question for that. So,
Hitler's dog, yeah.
That's a good one.
yeah.
He's a good dog. Liked everybody. Good dog.
Good.
Great comedian.
Good dog.
Yeah, very funny. I don't know. Nick's funny too, though.
Yeah.
I have my moments.
How hard is it to get people to believe that?
Yeah.
What?
Without them seeing you.
That you're funny.
How hard is it to get people to believe A, that you're funny, and B, that you're a professional comedian?
When they meet me?
Like without like if they've never seen you, like how there's just so many comedians that how do you sell yourself as like no?
Oh, I can't right
I'm
now.
funny.
I can't sell anything. You can't.
Like, that's why I think it's funny. Like you'll go on Facebook and be like, I guarantee you, I'm funny, at least as funny as anybody you've ever seen besides Richard Pryor. And I'm like, it's like you gotta resort to saying like, is that how far you have to go just to be like, look at my stuff, man, and take 5 minutes and you like it? Like, it's crazy.
I don't know. I think I just try to get, you just try to get people out to see you. But
you've been doing it for 9 years, you said?
9 years this past July. So
When did
I'm in
you
my
start
10th year.
To get any sort of success at all, if you even have yet. Like what is success?
2 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you run shows around town and they're growing a little bit, but
I did. I haven't ran any shows in a couple of years since that one got.
don't you do like a 1
Oh, I'm doing. Yeah, I've done my own shows. Like I don't
Yeah,
really
that's
run.
what I mean. Like,
Okay.
and, like those are going.
I got
on.
another show, September 14th, at the Brink Lounge here
If
in
you wanna
Madison.
fly into Madison?
If you want to fly into Madison, I don't know who's watching this.
No, I don't know. I don't either.
The psychos in Madison ain't watching this.
I hope not, because then that means they'll be able to find
Right.
it. We might have a couple. You're not psychos. Don't worry. Don't find me though. Don't find me. Please don't find me. Just kidding.
I don't know. It's just right now. It's I'm learning that you really you're developing your own brand, and you got to go out there and just fucking do it. I had someone tell me, they go, you know why comedy is easy for you? This was a woman, female comedian, and I was like, this ought to be good. And she goes, it's because we're conditioned to listen to white men as a society. And I said, that's not true. I was like, my dad's a white guy. You can ask him. I haven't listened to a damn word. He'd say, you know how rich I'd be if I listened to my dad?
Right.
I haven't listened to that's not. I was like, and that just dismissed all the hard work that I've put into the craft.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, really? It's not the thousands of miles driven. It's not the, thousands of hours writing.
Yeah, man, you put being a comedian, it's like not something you set an hour aside a day.
No,
No.
you're doing it.
It's
all
day,
the time.
every day, almost in a way. Like, I mean,
To the detriment to like it's detrimental to life.
Yeah.
Relation, like that's why it's the cult in that way, because you'll ignore how many weddings and funerals I've missed because
because you go to a shitty
I was
open
going
mic.
to or you had some shitty show.
Right.
Oh, I gotta drive
Or
out
you're-
to the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
you're in the
and do
middle of-
comedy for 4 people
you're
in
in-
a bar
yeah.
who don't know I'm gonna be
You're in
there.
Winnemucca, Nevada, at Winners Casino on Thanksgiving Day. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the cult aspect
Do Native
of it.
Americans celebrate Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
So on the reservation?
No, I doubt it. I would hope
at
they
the
wouldn't.
Casino,
I
there
would.
might actually be some people on Thanksgiving Day. That might be a good show.
It was a shit show.
Yeah.
Was it?
That was fucking horrible.
Never mind. Do you have
Good crowd, but yeah, I mean it was a fun
casino
crowd.
shows,
But
do you do a lot of those? Have you done a lot of
no,
those?
I've done several, but
Yeah,
don't really do them.
I'm banned from the Mole Lake Casino.
For what?
I'm not gonna go into that.
What the hell did you bring it up for then?
Do you know what my introduction to you was, Nick?
What?
The first time I ever saw you was when they roasted you for when you were
when I moved to
leaving.
New York.
Yeah,
And you're back.
Yeah.
and you walked the room.
I did. I told
On
everybody
purpose.
I was
It
like,
was
you guys, what
great.
are we even here for?
Yeah.
I was like, none of you know who I am. None of you know. I was like, this is stupid to do. I was upset that they didn't give me like 40 minutes of stage time. I was like,
Right.
I would have rather had that as a
Thanks
send off.
for, circle jerking.
Yeah.
About,
And there was just everyone getting up. It was like, oh, let's just get up. Like roast, I do not.
Right.
I just don't get them. You're just like, I get it if you know the people,
yeah.
and it's a thing. But the way they've now monetized it is you're just like, this doesn't even mean anything
Unless
anymore.
you
Yeah.
build characters and like you have like do something to like show who they are, and
Yeah.
then everybody who comes to the show knows who the people are, and they can like decide who they like before, like, because inside jokes don't work to people who you've never
Right.
met before. You know, like they do like a roast battle where they'll take two local comedians to go one-on-one and like tell jokes about each other, and then it's fun. Like there's some it's like a good time or whatever, but a lot of the people watching, they're like, wait, who are these people? What? I don't
Yeah.
know what you. So
Yeah, I kicked everybody out. I was like,
did.
leave. I was like, this thing's
And it's
over.
not even like you
I'm
walked them because it was bad. You were just like, no,
No,
I'm
I
gonna
told everybody.
stand
I was
up
like,
here.
I'm staying up here,
Yeah.
and everyone just leave. Get up and leave. This is over.
Yeah.
It was my turn to roast everyone. I go, no, this is just done.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know who I am. It doesn't matter. Where were
good.
you guys?
well, I think
You guys aren't coming out to the shows that aren't at this place.
stand-up comedians really think comedy is way more important than it really
Oh
is.
yeah.
You know, because it's so important to them because it's like such a
Right.
craft, you know? And like, you just gotta get over yourself and realize that no one wants to hear about you talk about how guys want to fuck you all the time for 15 minutes or you're not doing anything important on stage.
Yeah.
Other than like letting people have a good time. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
they're not
You're
listening
the class
to your
clown.
ideas. You're not a philosopher.
Right.
And just because you like idolize George Carlin doesn't make him a genius. You know, like even if he was, like it doesn't make him like any more important than like he's just comedy at the end of the day. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
influential, but it's just comedy, and that's why they put on these shows for themselves because they just want to just circle jerk over what they're doing. You know?
Yeah.
You have to do
That's
it
why I
too.
started a YouTube channel. You know.
Keep my narcissism online.
Yeah.
Yes, in the
They're
digital
doing
frontier,
this.
man.
Nonsense in the real world.
No, but it's crazy how you can just start a YouTube channel and like, if you just devote some time to it, it becomes an actual thing that's like a little bit tangible. Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
like it becomes an entity.
That's what I said. Like I don't have like I got a YouTube channel and I don't put anything on it. I'm not streaming
Well,
anything.
you know, the thing too is like we struggled to do it for a really long time.
Dude, we've talked about this for the last 2 years. Ever since I was in a video with
3 years even, dude.
millions of people watching it, and I'm like, I got all these eyes on me, and like I'm trying to do comedy, I'm trying to make a name for myself, and I have all these ideas that are going to happen in the future someday when I have people looking at what I'm doing, and it's like, oh wait, I was not ready for it when it happened. So like,
Sure.
this has been like 2 years for us to be like get ready to like. But also, you gotta have something to offer. We just didn't have anything to offer
Right.
either. So it's like it takes 2 years of time. I mean, you've been doing comedy for 9 years, so you've been working on like ideas for a long time. So it's not all it's gonna take is you taking a few steps forward, and it's gonna keep coming because it's like a magnet that like keeps getting bigger. Everything it attracts, there's like another lob.
Sure,
and
sure.
That becomes magnetic, and that becomes magnetic, and it just like all lobs onto itself. Once you get some momentum going,
Right.
strike while the iron's hot. You know. Otherwise, what are you gonna do? You got any like plans? Like
Me?
yeah, big plans.
I'm trying to develop. I'm thinking because I hate, like I've been writing a bunch of songs, but they're not funny. Like music to me is a totally different thing from comedy. So I hate comedians who get up and play guitar and like, all right, here's this little song I wrote about.
It's funny because it's cute.
Yeah, or just it's just they're like I don't know. To me, like writing songs, that craft, I respect that craft enough not to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've definitely written silly ass songs.
It's a different kind of an
But it's a
connection.
different exactly. It's a different thing. So I want to try to connect comedy with that in a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To
Where
have both sides.
so it's there's laughter, and then now here's a story that I wrote about my friend who died while I was out on the road, and I was gone for 3 weeks, and then I come back and everyone's moved on, and I haven't. Like I haven't gotten that chance to grieve, and then you go out, and people are just like, oh, yeah, she's dead. Like I was like, wait, what? Like, so it's just like those were inspired songs. So to give it context. Along with comedy, I don't know if it can be done. I don't know if it can be done to do comedy and then close a show with a bunch of sad storytelling. Not necessarily everything's sad, but everything's poignant and it's moving, and it's human.
Well, I think if it can be done, you're the guy to do it because you came up with the idea.
Maybe, but it's just
for real. Like,
right.
Who else is gonna do it, man? If it can't be done, who else is gonna do it but you?
I don't know, man. I guess.
Like, I think you can do it.
Was this The Secret all of a sudden?
Yes, man. It's all about creating.
We actually talked about that last
Black
time.
magic.
Create your reality.
my friend.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's so that's what I'm trying to work on right now. Like I'm just trying to get like a group of 5 or 6 songs that there's a thread. As long as there's something I can weave in between them, and then you
Something
just
to start
and
with,
just
man.
yeah, and just do an hour of stand up and then 30 minutes of
Why
songs
not-
and storytelling.
Why not like a song and then like a 10-minute set and then a song and then a 10-minute
That's
set?
too.
Because I think
back
that
and
gets
forth.
it kind of
Yeah.
messes with the rhythm of laughter.
Yeah.
But I like the way you say do an hour stand up and then close with some music, because you let people get to know you and like you and kind of like know who you are
Sure.
and like laugh at you, and then you get to show your like more human side and your more sensitive side without being like some preachy d-bag who's just out there singing sappy songs.
Right.
It's like, no, this guy's already cool. We already like him. We're already having drinks. Now he's playing songs, and we can kind of like listen to music, have a few drinks, and let loose a little bit. And there's no pressure at it because they already like you. And like you can, if your songs are good,
Sure.
and if they know you, they know where they're coming from. It provides more context. It's better than just putting out a cold song, like going
Yeah.
out cold. And
Like,
saying,
I'd like to
"Here,
do
listen
that
to
for
me bare my soul."
I would like to do that for a special
Yeah.
where it's just like no one else is doing this. Like these songs aren't going to be fun. Like at the end, my closer is going to be a bunch of sad shit.
That's a really good idea. 'Cause
You know
you're
what I
right,
mean?
No
Like-
one else is doing it. Everybody's trying to get that closer to be like, that peak of like,
Yeah, fucking
good
brings it
night,
home.
See you later.
Actually, I saw Rafi May do that cry closer. That
He
was
didn't
kind of
do it on
weird.
purpose.
It wasn't on purpose, but it was
He
weird.
did like 3 hours and did an hour stand up and then talked for 2 hours about like crying about the military while he was sweating his ass off, sitting there breathing like he had just gotten in a fight with his wife between shows on the bus and was 15 minutes late for the
Is he
show.
alive still?
No,
he's
he
dead.
died.
Okay.
That's why I can't talk shit about him.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not talking shit. Like this is just what
This
happened.
happened, yeah,
I
man.
don't know the guy, but like he had a train wreck
Yeah.
by doing that. So you be careful.
Yeah.
you don't want to cry at the end
I've
of the
seen that go
show.
wrong.
No, I mean, well, I
He
did that.
walked
I did that one man show where it was no stand up, and it was just
Only gonna laugh when it gets way too tense to be comfortable. Like
yeah. I mean, like I peppered in laughs to release it because it would be like, man, this is some serious
yeah,
shit.
well, yeah. Otherwise,
Like the first one was about what was the theme in the? I think it was about just violence, physical violence, like unprovoked physical violence that I've experienced throughout my life, and then getting to the song, like it was an hour, of just spoken word. I mean, there were some funny stories thrown in there, but then at the end it was like, all right, here's some songs that I wrote that have nothing to do with what I was just talking about. These are
But
just
if you
songs
could
about a
connect
friend
it
that
with-
passed away.
if you could connect it with a through line, that would be like a special. I think
Right.
that would be good. That would be something I'd watch.
That was the greatest compliment. Somebody said, they go, I heard somebody went and saw your show and be like, that'd be something I'd watch on Netflix. I was just like, oh, that's a compliment. I'll
Yeah.
take that.
It's better than a lot of stuff on Netflix,
Okay.
man. They're putting a lot of stuff out there. They're kind of oversaturating the market just so they can dominate the market. I feel like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're all going to be on Netflix soon.
Yeah. Why not? It's like YouTube.
It's just going to be.
And everybody gets to pretend they're like some superstar, some celebrity.
There was some book I read. I can't remember what it was, but this guy essentially goes through a car accident and his soul jumps into the future, and there's the technological advancement is shared by all the techno wizards. They share it instead of hoarding it. They share it with humanity, and they end up essentially when you're 18, you get 30,000 units dollars. And most people, you can either get a job, you don't have to, because I mean everything's automated, I guess, from the book, if I can remember it right. And so, but you had 30,000 units when you turn a certain age, and you can get a job and earn more units, or you can take that 30,000 units, and most people do some sort of creative art form or expression from their house on a computer.
Yeah.
And that's just what they get paid to do. Essentially, everyone's a cam girl. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
But
it
that's
is
what universal basic income would be.
right.
If they just gave everybody money, everybody would just start a YouTube channel and be like, hey, yeah, I do this now.
Watch me.
And like, I could be an artist. And
I
then
can be a
it's like-
cam girl.
And it's like, kind of like nullifying the whole point of like being like an entertaining person. Like, if everybody can
Right.
do
Well,
it,
that's the thing is going to start. Drew Michael is a comedian from New York, and his special is essentially him just on a stage with no audience.
What?
Gerard Carmichael's directing.
Of just terrible, like mono. How many genders do you believe in?
There's 2.
Okay. So
Well, how many genders? I mean, sexes. There's 2. Genders, whatever you want.
see, that's like a funny game that you can put. It's the same as 0 because then there's no gender, there's no difference. Or I could be like 3 because there's like male and female,
And then
and
other.
then there's people who are obviously outside of that. And then you could be like, well, maybe then there's 4 because there's like male, female, and then people who are like male to female and female to male. And then like, okay, I guess then there's 5 because then there's people who aren't either one of those. And then like, then you're like, oh, I guess there's infinite genders. Like, how, like, that's why you can't play that game. Because it's like,
that's why nothing in the future, nothing will get done.
it's like nothing means anything if we start dicing up whether there's more and killed. Like, if nothing means
No, you're gonna
anything-
start seeing 15-year-olds in porn.
Yeah. All of it.
All of it's gonna be because if biological determinism, if sex isn't defined by biology, then what is age?
Sure.
18 was just an arbitrary number anyway.
It's not defined by biology. Age isn't defined by
Age-
biology.
Right? So you're just like,
Nothing's defined by biology.
and there's 15-year-olds that can't wait to be cam girls.
You're
Like
right.
that, they're like, I'm
Catch me
go to
outside, how
college.
about
Don't
that?
go to college. This is the last thing I'd tell my kid now. They're like, don't go to college. Don't go into
yeah.
debt.
Maybe when you're 30, if you want to go to college when you're.
That's
30.
when you should be going to school.
Right. When you're.
Is
Yeah.
when you're like, all right, now I know who I am. Now I know what I want to do.
You
Yeah.
gotta go into it with a plan. I had a lot of teachers tell me like to just go. Don't even pick a thing. Just get into it right away and just do it.
Yeah.
That is a horrible idea.
No.
Because I got into something.
And the
Yeah,
greater good.
I guess.
Move that money
Appreciate
around.
Did you pay it off?
I'm in the process of paying it off. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you are because I'm not paying any of my loans, so you're kind of just like
Just picking it up for you.
picking up the slack for me.
Well, my wages got garnished, so I didn't have much of a choice.
I guess I pay enough so that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I owe like 10 grand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I owe less than that. I owe like I think like $2,000, $3,000 more dollars, and then I'm done actually. So kind of excited about that.
I know people that have student loans where it's like
I
a
know.
$50,000 loan. They've paid off 80% of it and still owe 75% of
Yeah,
it just with the
man.
interest.
It's crazy.
Like, dude, that's
racket.
never.
It's a
That
complete
is
racket.
that is enslavement.
Yeah.
But it's not even enslavement if you sign the contract beforehand.
Especially if you're like an
That's the
18-year-old
route.
kid taking out like $150,000 loans for your brain.
Could you imagine if instead of taking out
You just went to the casino and threw it all down on something, tripled it, and then just came back. It's like, here's this.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say,
need it.
I was gonna say if you just asked for like a quarter of that to start a business from your parents.
Sure.
Like if your parents are paying for your college,
Right.
why not just ask for a quarter of that and start your own business?
It's a fallacy that you need a college degree now.
Yeah. Like what?
That's
can you do?
everyone has one.
Unless you're gonna be.
It's almost like a TV
scientist.
credit in comedy. Now everyone's getting one.
Yeah.
They don't fucking mean
We're all gonna
anything.
be on Netflix.
Yeah,
Everybody's gonna have
like-
a college degree. We're all gonna be
Yeah.
on Netflix, and you're not gonna be able to tell good from bad from ugly. Like
Yeah.
you're just in this wishy-washy, chaotic, like mishmash shades of gray world instead of like good and bad. It's just like I don't know anything. Do you
Yeah.
feel that way at all?
Yeah.
Like the world used to be black and white. Like
Dude, I would trade. I think I tweeted this earlier today. I was like, I would trade the internet for 69-cent gallon gas, like that. If it was the 90s again, like
So
you could
go
get, you
do
could go,
shit.
you could go across the country with like $21.
yeah.
Like you could get across the country with $21.
That's crazy to think.
Like that's I'd do that in a heartbeat. Fuck
Do you
the
think
internet.
that's why the gas is so expensive to restrict movement?
No, I think gas is fucking expensive because they decide
is
it's
it.
expensive.
Because they want to make money in the Middle East. That's why
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way about the internet.
Well, no one else. There's another thing that no one else is talking about is the $2 trillion mega fund that the royal family started in Saudi Arabia. Like they started, like they're diversifying to get out of oil. Like something's up, girlfriend. Like fucking.
right.
If they own all the oil,
Where are you going,
and
friend?
like and now all of a sudden they want to get out of oil, and they start a $2 trillion mega fund, and it's like big enough they can straight up buy the world. They can buy Buffett's company. They can buy Alphabet. They can buy Microsoft, and they can buy Apple.
I don't understand how you can just.
And that's just a hostile takeover.
Yeah,
that's just like there's no. Oh, we're not selling. You don't have a choice. This is not.
So
They're not selling. I'm buying it. It's over.
Why are they even using money if they can just take it?
Because it's got nothing. No job's complete without paper.
Yeah, you're right. That's
got to be put down on paper so that we know who owns what.
Trace of it. You can track it back, prove it.
I own this. I own you.
I don't know why is the Saudis backed by gold?
They're backed by oil, dude. What do they need gold for? Yeah, that liquid gold.
Yeah, liquid Texas.
I bet they have just like houses full of cash in the Middle East, just stacks and piles.
That's basically what their palaces are. It's
yeah,
just
no,
cash.
that's true.
It's like liquidated cash.
Yeah,
it's like when someone. Like all those Chinese skyscrapers out there in the middle of nowhere that
no one's living in.
Those are just like equity.
That's the housing bubble. That's the housing bubble that's going to burst when that bursts.
Oh my God.
Yeehaw. And then you know when that happens, that burst, they're going to crack open that piggy bank of Iraq and revalue that currency.
Oh, maybe.
And that's what's going to be the hey, see you, China.
I'm going to apologize to my grandma for fucking saying she got swindled, dude. Thank you, Grandma. Don't send me to Iraq to go exchange some money, though. I was telling Mark earlier, I bet the Unabomber is just like, fuck, if I would have waited 20 years, everybody would have saw what I was talking about. Like, he would have blown up the internet. I think, because he was worried about, like, this digital technocracy, and, like, he ended up moving out to the woods and doing his own manifesto, and, like, he was afraid of, like, Terminator taking over, the Matrix.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right, he was bombing professors and people who were building computers because he thought technology was the end of mankind.
Well, it will be. It will be.
We're at the same point.
Man as we know it, mankind as we know it.
And did you know that he was actually experimented on from the MK Ultra program?
They
yeah,
dunked Harvard.
I think I saw.
Studies.
They did what?
The Harvard acid studies. He was. They dunked
I did say. I think I saw a movie on him.
They dosed him with. So they had him write everything he believes. Right.
And then they're like,
"Did you guys get this from the movie that you saw?"
I don't remember.
So they have a whole bunch of people write everything they believe,
and then they all get tossed out, and it's like, "This is the guy."
Right.
Boom. Boo, 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 just pump him full of acid.
And then they just dispute everything that he ever believed.
Right.
Like that he wrote down, and just it flashed lights in his face, and then he became the Unabomber. He's also a genius.
So he was created.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, yeah.
By the government.
Yeah, no, straight up.
I think that happens with a lot of stuff. Like a lot of terrorist attacks and school shootings, they are predicted ahead of time. And then, basically they can't out themselves for having future predictive technology. So they let it all happen. They create an environment where this stuff is going to happen because they're looking for a cue so they can roll out whatever their agenda is. So, if it's a school shooting, they can create an environment where there would be a school shooting, ripe for school shooting. Have, a bunch of kids who are, Xanaxed up and on SSRIs. And just create an environment where something's going to happen eventually. And then when you get the cues and all the signs and the red flags that something's going to happen, then you just ignore them and you let it keep going the same way. And this model goes over a whole bunch of different stuff. It's not just school shootings and behavior. It's how drugs spread, it's how disease spreads. It's Tuskegee syphilis experiment, understanding that, learning about that kind of unlocked this whole new way of looking at it. And it's they have this problem, there's a problem, and then they have the solution for the problem, and they know all the people who have the problem, but instead of solving their problem and providing a solution, they just let it happen and then try to clean up afterwards because now they can justify this new program that they're going to roll out. So it's if school shooting, it's an anti-gun thing. If it's syphilis, it would be penicillin. You want to let it get out there and figure out how it spreads so you know how to cut it off. But if you nip it too early, you don't even know. If you nip it in the bud too early, you don't even know what the flower that the bud would grow into would look like. So you don't even know what you're really fighting.
Sure.
So like you gotta let it grow so you know what you're even dealing with in case you can't stop it someday. I think it's the only way they could justify it. It doesn't make much sense to me, but they do the same thing with behavior, the spread of like drugs and disease and symptoms and all that. I think it's the same model of just like creating an environment that's ripe for something to happen and letting it happen and then trying to clean up afterwards.
Sure.
So it's like a weird level of control.
Yes.
Where
And
it's like not touching it, but in control of it.
yes, and it's like, and it's because I think it's kind of evil actually.
Sure.
Because it's finding like some darkness and some bad in the world, and then
Letting it grow.
but because you're so fascinated with it and you want to learn more about it and you want to dig deeper and find out why this is like, why is it evil?
It's setting
What
optimal
is bad?
conditions for
Evil to take place.
not evil to take place, but well, I mean, if you that's you know, if you
Evil
label
to
it
be
evil, you
evil.
label it evil.
All right.
For you know, optimal results.
Yes.
Just
It's like
to see
making
it.
a petri dish and
Sure.
putting the right
Put in the right temperature and the right
what do they call
Darkness,
stuff they put in there to
right
eat it?
light.
The gel that the stuff eats.
I don't know, but
Did you know the guy who orchestrated the Tuskegee experiments became the head of the CDC for like 7 years after the Tuskegee
I did not
experiments?
know that, but that doesn't surprise me.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, and I think that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. That you would think that it would be something that you would get fired
Right.
for.
Well, it never came out until like 30 years later down his
But
career.
everybody knew about it
Right.
inside. Like,
Right.
you think if your boss found out you were doing that, you'd be like, what are you
He's probably doing it under orders.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's what it proves. It's like, oh, you did a good job. We're going to
Yeah.
promote
Yeah.
you to the top. Since
Push him up. Yep.
it's crazy.
It is. It's scary.
But, I think a lot of those government institutions, that's what they're there for. It's not to stop. Like, so the Center for Disease Control, they split up like halfway through their existence. They're not just a Center for Disease Control. That's one wing of it. Now there's a Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Now that's the one that I think is doing good and trying to prevent disease. But the one for control, they're not trying to prevent it. They're trying to control it and perhaps even weaponize it.
Yeah.
And like use it as a tool, like implement it in the world. It's about control, And,
Yeah, it's
like,
all in the rhetoric. Control
and
and
they gave themselves an out in the rhetoric. So like, oh no, this is the prevention side and this is the control side. So they can justify doing the experiment.
That's like at the airport when they would say, like, in the interest of aviation safety, do not accept luggage from people you do not know. And now it doesn't say safety. It goes, in the interest of aviation security.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, those are two different things.
That is too different.
It's like,
very subtle.
you can be
distinction.
secured, duct taped to a tree, and you're secure, but you're not safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's...
I saw that movie Heavyweights, dude. They got Lars.
I don't know what that
You
is.
see that? Oh,
Oh.
they tied him to a tree. Whatever.
Oh.
Got licked by a deer.
Oh,
Stupid.
cute.
Yeah, very cute.
And then you dropped an elbow on it.
Just wrap it all together.
Man, I'm ready for the. I'm honestly, I don't even. I'm at the point where if the internet and the grid and everything went down,
Be good.
bring it on, man. People probably.
I would laugh I don't know, man. I would laugh.
I've already started collecting water bottles. Like,
I was doing that in 2011. It was like just collecting water.
yep.
But it'd be the breakdowns that would happen, that would occur, mental breakdowns people would have.
Do you think people would break because they just can't handle going into a new?
Yes.
Millennials would lose their mind, but it's also the people who are all on, like you said, mood inhibitors or mood, stuff for
Sure.
medication for whatever
Yeah,
ails
just
you.
Think
Maybe-
about
And now all of a sudden that's gone, like
Right.
electricity and like everything. I mean, I guess that's different if the grid goes down. Electricity, like, yeah, people would lose their minds.
Yeah, you're right.
People
I don't know
would
why I
lose their
asked
minds.
that. Of
They'd
course
start
people would lose
eating
their
shit.
minds. You lose your mind. The power goes out for 10 minutes. You're like, wait, what's happening?
Dude, what was the study with just like time? It was just like now, like when like this iPhone, whatever I have here, whatever number this is, like I had the iPhone 4 for like 5 years, and it was just at that point I was just like, this thing takes forever, but it was all I had. So then I got this thing, and it was just like super fast, and you're like, oh, and now this thing's slowing down. I'm like, like I'm getting mad over like 20 seconds or 10 seconds.
Going back to an iPhone 4 would piss you off. Could you?
I wouldn't do
if you had
it.
to
I would not do it.
Two sticks together.
I'd just go back to a flip phone before I went back to an iPhone 4.
If the grid broke down, you'd go back to a flip.
Not even the flip phone. No, I'm just saying, like, it was just like, I can't afford this. I go back to the, we got the iPhone 4. I was like, I'll just go get a burner phone, man. I'll just have that.
I'm not gonna be using my phone.
Guess I'm not. Yeah.
That's all.
I guess I'll be using my phone for what it's meant to be, to talk to people.
Hey, mom.
Like a
Hey, mom. 911.
shicking email.
Well, thanks for coming in, man.
Are we done?
Yeah,
We can be done.
yeah.
Good. I'm
It's over
done.
an hour.
Yeah,
All right.
we're good. So, anything you want to talk about? Direct these people to, if you fucking like him, look him up.
Yeah, look me up, nickhartcomedy.com. You can go there.
NickHartComedy.com.
Yeah.
NickHartComedy.com.
At Nick Hart Inc.
Oh,
On Twitter.
on Twitter.
At Nick Hart Inc. on Twitter. I don't have Twitter yet. I should set up a Twitter.
I'm about to get rid of my Twitter.
See that?
It's
I kinda
it's
feel like it's on the
absolutely
way out.
nonsense, man. I want to get rid of everything. Just have everything be a website and an email. And that's
I
it.
think that's the way to do
A
it.
website and an email. No
'Cause then
Facebook. No
You
nothing.
don't rely on anybody,
Yeah.
and like it's word of mouth. It's not like some fake algorithm that got you like people to look at you. It's
Yeah.
like people.
Just
who
get someone
actually
else who's
like
on Facebook to put your website
Yeah,
on
right.
there.
If you
They-
like me, you guys can share it, but like you don't need to be focused on promoting yourself
yeah.
as much as you do just having like something that's worth looking at. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much about promoting yourself.
Well, it's also it's promoting yourself, but it's also not being that accessible.
Yeah, have a little bit
You know
of
what I
mystique
mean?
about you.
Yeah,
man.
like just like, all right, I can't find anything about this person.
Yeah, no, that's definitely
You know what I
better
mean?
than like oversaturating it and putting stuff out that's not good.
Hey,
Hey,
Yeah.
Speaking of.
hello, we are here. Okay,
are we done?
Yeah, we're done. But I want to announce for the few people watching to check out Wednesday night. We got Owen Schroyer's going to be in this. He's not going to be in the studio, but
That'd be hilarious.
yeah, we're flying him in. We didn't pay Nick Hart because we had to fly in
Fly him
Owen
in.
Schroyer for 2 hours. No, we're gonna do an interview with him here live via Skype. So check that out. You probably already heard about that though. This is a YouTube video, so it's like doesn't need to be like you can watch this anytime. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be 2 days from now. Whatever. Okay, see you later.